Hello. Is that the one? I don't know why, but OBS seemed to change my microphone settings. But here we are. That should be better. No sound, please. Check. No sound. Sorry. See, usually, this is the thing. Usually I can set this stuff up way earlier and I'm on the ball with it. But honestly, work has just completely thrown me off this week. It's been a bit crazy. Perfect. Perfect. Sound check. Check. 1, 2, 3. So, as I was saying, congrats to Abdullah again. I'll reiterate everything I've just said. Congrats to you, mate, with a 500k rank. Absolute madness. George, scoring 85, still taking a red arrow. Crazy week. Crazy. Joined the 100-point club in FPL this week. Love to see it. Great stuff, Armin. Great stuff. But yes, anyway, welcome to the stream, guys. Apologies for no content this week again. Just like I say, work has been a bit mental for me. I've had a couple of projects go live this week and just all sorts of things. For those that don't know, I work in IT. And when you go live with a project with IT, there's always things that go wrong. So absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. To desperately need this weekend, you had a full week of mocks and your friend may take you to Chelsea versus Everton tomorrow as a reward. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy the game if you get to go, mate. Yeah, it's a tough time being that age, mate. With the mock exams, GCSEs aren't easy. But yeah, good luck with everything. 96 points for you as well. Well done. Abdullah, 105 for you. Armin, top 10 unsolved cases. What was Dan waffling about? Everything I just said prior, literally. I just I pretty much said exactly what I said just now, but on repeat. No issue, mate. We can wait for your content. Appreciated. Appreciated. But to add to Armin's point about what I was waffling about, I actually asked the question to you guys that would you mind me kind of actually using the graphics that I've created? Because funny enough, I found the time in the evening to create the graphics for my team selection video as normal, but I just couldn't find the time to record, right? There's just too much going on. Too much going on. So maybe I'll use the stream to just talk about it. I think it's a pretty standard week for most people. You know, there's not much going on. I've already made my move from Haaland to Watkins. I think I'm pretty set on Kane captain. I don't think I'm going to go for Saka. I think there's other options this week for sure. But I think he makes the most sense. I think he was talking about horses. Random. My daughter loves them though, but she's only literally nearly 2 years old. So fortunately, I haven't got to buy one yet. I could have been talking about Cheltenham, maybe. Surely you have to roll this week after the wild card, and you can have 2 game week 29 transfers. I think so, mate. I think so. If you've got 10 or 11 players, I don't really think it's a massive issue if you've got 10. I don't even think it's a massive issue if you've got 9 this week, if I'm entirely honest. But I think if you can field 11, great, go for it. And FPL does hurt sometimes. You are right on that, my friend. We have to take the L's though, because the when it goes out our way, it tastes sweet, right? George, you may have used your free hit. You only had 5 players otherwise. Then I don't really blame you for pressing the button, mate, to be honest. I think, in all honesty, there probably would have been more players, or more managers, should I say, using a chip if some of the FA Cup results changed, right? Because Leicester, they were in the mix. Southampton and Tottenham, of course, both of them losing their games, that there was like a 96% chance that Southampton and Tottenham was going to be a blank game this week. So I think with a few different fixtures, you probably would have seen more people playing the free hit. It just so happened that I think this is probably one of the most populated game weeks for blank game weeks that we've seen in quite a few seasons, mate. So I don't think it's a bad move to use it if you need to. I am planning to bench boost in game week 29 as well, Abdullah, yes. And I will be talking about that this week. Armin, you're getting in Saka. Should you sell Matoma or McAllister? I mean, Matoma's doing the business, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Mac 10, he did well. He got the penalty. But how often at Brighton, or how often are Premier League teams getting penalties this season, right? I think I would probably hold Matoma. And with Brighton's doubles that are inevitably coming in the future, I think you've got to hold at least one of them, definitely. FPL Seb, hello to you, sir. Best game week ever. Finally, you've joined the 100 club. Well done to you, sir. 104. Yes, I can check your team shortly. Yes, I will absolutely do that for you, sir. Sportcat, you've got 10 players. Haaland is the only player blanking. Fair enough. And Game Week 29, when is Game Week 29 the best week to bench boost? Personally, for my team, I like the 29 bench boost. There is the option to do it, I think, in 34. That will be a double game week. 32. There's, I think, some doubles maybe coming in 31. There's a couple of double game weeks that we could talk about. But I think 29 is the largest. So if you could get 13 to 14 double game week players in 29, especially with you rolling the transfer, I personally feel like it's the best time to use the chip, my friend. John THP, what do you think of Pinnock to Chilwell for a hit? I mean, if you're fielding, if this is like a luxury kind of transfer for you, if you've already got, I guess, 10 playing players, maybe, or if you've got a full 11 and you're just looking to remove a playing player for Chilwell, I don't hate that move. I really like Chilwell. I think he's obviously been proven already as a bit of a differential, and I think more people are going to go after him next week. So yeah, I like the move, mate. This game week, so many different captains and ranks can be gained. I agree, it's pretty spread, but I do like Harry Kane personally. Matoma has been in your team since game week 20, and he is not disappointed. Absolutely, Sportcat. So I think, for me, I think McAllister is the one that probably has to go between the two. And can you check my team quickly? Yeah, sure. Let's do some team review in it. Why not? Why not? So I know, I think Team Nami, you are quite far down, aren't you here? So I mean, you're in a situation, I guess, where you've got quite a few blanking players here, right? Because of the Brighton assets and Rashford. I mean, Matoma in March though, what a double up that was. Great call. I think if I'm honest, I would say that you probably look at the midfield to change, just because I'm not sure about a double up for Brighton midfielders longer term. Like, yes, they double more for sure. You've got 3.3 million in the bank. I feel like March can probably move on for you, to be honest, Seb. I mean, is there anybody in midfield that you're looking at? Maybe can you get to Maddison potentially? I mean, Haaland to Watkins is definitely on the cards there. Sorry, I didn't even recognise that you had him blanking as well. So quite a few players blanking for you. You're thinking Henry to Chilwell. I mean, the only problem with that for me is you're removing a player that's playing for another player that's playing. I'm not sure that Chilwell will be worth it in this scenario for you because you have so many other options for blanking players. So maybe take March for someone, like I say, Maddison I think could do well. Of course, he is playing against Brentford, so I would probably play Kepa ahead of Raya for you in your scenario. Not sure about the Chilwell move for you, Seb, based on your team, mate, if I'm honest. Let me quickly have a look at Sportcat. What are you? You are... Mason Mount, aren't you? Or Mount something. I'm sure you're Mount something. You can't be this low. I can't remember where you are, Sportcat. Let me know. Let me know. I'll answer some questions in the meantime. So Abdullah, you got 14 players for a double in 29. Fantastic, mate. If you've got the bench boost, then I feel like that's a nice one. You've got a feeling Watkins is going to score big. Yeah, I feel like the same. Bournemouth at home. It's just a solid fixture. Sorry, I'll go on to pick team. Salah missing that pen broke your heart. Yeah, possible 8 to 10 pointer. Indeed. Indeed. You would have pretty much, I think, leapfrogged me then, right? Because I'm only 90k now. So I've had a few mixed green and red arrows in recent weeks. Amit, 2 queries. Botman or Burn for Lewis, and Barnes, Rodrigo for Andreas for a -4. I think I prefer... I mean, both Botman and Burn for me are probably just... the ceiling is 6 points. So I really don't think it matters so much. If I'm not mistaken, they're both exactly the same cost. So I don't think you've got one over the other, in my opinion. Barnes, Rodrigo for Andreas. Okay, if you can't get to Maddison, maybe Barnes is the option. He has actually done very well. I think he's second in terms of Leicester's output this season so far, in terms of assists and goals. So absolutely, I think he's worth it. SJ, you have 2 blanking. Is it worth taking a -4 for one of the blanking players and also bench boosting in 29? I think as long as it doesn't really mess up your bench boost in 29, SJ, I don't hate a -4 this week. I think ultimately it goes back to that same situation as I've always mentioned, right? Which is that if you're removing a blank player for someone else, depending on the position, you guarantee, I suppose, at least 2 points based on a 60-minute appearance. So a -4 is in effect already a -2. Not taking into consideration yellow cards or, shortened minutes or anything like that. So I feel like the risk is very minimal for a -4 this week. So absolutely on board with that, SJ. Let me know what your thoughts are on the transfers, bud, and I'll try and help you. So, George, you've got Kepa, Trippier, Chilwell, Zinchenko, Saka, Odegaard, Son, Buendia, Watkins, Kane, Tony. Opinions. I actually really like that as a free hit, my friend. I think that's got some really good potential. Zinchenko is potentially a bit of a risk. That's the only question mark I've got, just based on the minutes he played for the Europa League against Sporting. He did play 120 minutes, George. So just something to consider. Tierney is, of course, waiting in the wings, or waiting in the wings, shall I say. So potentially he comes in for Arteta. I don't know, though. Nothing's been confirmed, of course. It's just something to bear in mind. But I like the differentials there. You've got Son, you've got Buendia. I really like it. I think that looks really solid. Sportcat, don't think Chilwell is that great of a move since having 2 premium defenders is a bit of a waste. You're 45th, Sportcat. Okay, let's have a look. Let's try and find you, mate. Mason Mount Everest, there you are. I knew it was Mason Mount something. So you've got Haaland blanking, you've got Matoma blanking, Estepinian blanking, Rashford blanking. So you've got 4 players blanking. I'm assuming that Erling Haaland is going to be somebody. I mean, I really don't feel like there's any need to hold on to him through game week 29. Although he could obviously do some damage against Liverpool, I just think genuinely bringing him back in game week 30 is the play. So, at least one move can be done there. The only other option for you, mate, like you say, is potentially roll. I don't think I'd get rid of Matoma, Rashford or Estepinian. If I'm honest, you've got 2 Brighton assets, which I like. Both of them are going to have double game weeks in the future. I think the value situation with Haaland is obviously tricky, but I think you'd be able to probably get him back. If you do a bit of future planning, just double check that the value you've got tied up in him now, if you sold him for, say, someone like Watkins, for example, that helps you field 11 players in this situation. Maybe look at that as an option, as long as you can buy him back in a couple of weeks. I really don't think that's harmful. Obviously, personal view, take it with a pinch of salt, but genuinely, I think that's the route I'd go down for your team, just as a quick kind of glance at it, I guess. Seb, yeah, but I don't think that Brentford will get a clean sheet in 28, and you don't think that they will get any clean sheets in double game week 29 too. So Chilwell just has good fixtures and he's very attacking. That is a very good point, to be honest. Of course, defenders really, you're going to be, you opt for the clean sheets first, and then of course attacking returns are a benefit. The only thing is though, Brentford at home are very good. So although I've got Maddison in there, I'm not actually massively confident that he's going to do anything this week. Some people have got a bit of FOMO for him, but I'm not sure. But I must agree with you, though, since looking at Chelsea's lineups recently, Chilwell has looked really, really attacking. So I like the idea, and you think that you want to hold the double Brighton mids. Okay, fair enough. I think it could work. Like I say, there are plenty of doubles for Brighton that are coming up more than likely, so I can see that potentially paying dividends later on. Amit, Botman or Cash? I mean, Cash against Bournemouth at home. That sounds really tasty to me. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Amit Botman for me is just a 6-point machine. I don't really feel like his ceiling is any higher. Apparently, though, last week he did miss an absolute sitter at the back post or something. But I think I would choose Cash, if I'm honest there. Hi, Amar. Welcome to the stream, mate. Missed you too. Missed all of the community, really, to be honest. It's been a bit of a crazy week, so welcome to the stream, my friend. George, you think captaincy this week is very interesting. So do I. I think there's a lot of different options. I just feel like Kane is the one for me. The only problem I've got with him is that he scored a 13-pointer last week, and I've got a feeling that he has this tendency where he'll haul, and then he blanks straight after. So, let's see. Sportcat, maybe take Haaland out for Watkins. Maybe go back to João Felix. We're cooking now. I mean, the thing is with João Felix, obviously I made the call early on that I felt like he was a possibility. The only problem I've got with him, what happened when he got substituted at 45 minutes? Did he take a knock, or what was going on there? Because I didn't actually catch why he only played 45 minutes. Because I'd have more confidence in him if I knew he was going to get solid minutes. So Latio, of course, asking the question there, Havertz or Watkins. I guess you could extend that question to Havertz or João Felix as well. I think I would lean towards Havertz out of João Felix and Havertz, but I think Watkins is the pick, Latio, if I'm honest. I think they've looked good at home, Aston Villa, to be honest, and I feel like he's got a pretty good double next week. So Amar, you're asking, you want to buy a Chelsea defender and you can't afford Chilwell. Is Fofana nailed? He is cheap. If not, should you go for Koulibaly? Who is the most nailed cheap Chelsea defender? Thanks. It's a very good question. Fofana, has he been cleared for injury, first of all? Because I'm pretty certain he's flagged, right? So I'm not sure if he picked up. So he's only a knock, 75% chance of playing. So if I feel like when you pay money for someone like this, of course he's had the injury situations, but I feel like he is going to be nailed. Have we seen a bit of a drop-off in Badiashale's minutes recently? So he only played 4 minutes in the last game, and he also was benched against Spurs. So I don't think Badiashale can really be called nailed anymore. The issue you've got is, I guess, what's Thiago Silva's situation? So he's definitely out until the 15th of April, right? So you've definitely got a few weeks coverage to not worry that he comes into play, because I do think he'd be first choice as centre-back. So I'm going to predict that Fofana and Koulibaly are probably the two centre-backs for Chelsea, but Sportcat might be able to help. He's a Chelsea fan, so maybe you can say more, but I think I would go for Fofana if funds are a bit of an issue for you. Sportcat, Chilwell and James will now be a lot more attacking as you're playing a third back or back three. Yeah, I agree. I think the wing-back system is a lot more threatening for both the wing-backs. I just feel like Reece James has been told by Graham Potter to just hold fire a little bit. I don't know. I just, from an eye test perspective, maybe the formation will change that, but I genuinely feel like he's been told to just calm down a little bit, to not risk himself for injury. Luke Taylor, what are my thoughts on Zinchenko to Chilwell this week? I don't mind that transfer at all, Luke. I think Zinchenko is a bit of a risk, considering he played the 120 minutes on Thursday against Sporting. So potentially we see Tierney come in for some minutes. Even if Zinchenko makes 60 minutes, right, I think Chilwell will offer you a higher ceiling this week. So if you're looking at bringing him in, I think this is the week to do it. SJ, you're transferring out Akanji for a -4, but you can afford any defender besides Brentford. Since you have triple any defenders you recommend for this week, and in 29 your defence is currently me, Trippier, Chilwell, Akanji, Shaw. So transferring out Akanji for -4. Any defence since Brentford, because you've got triple Brentford. Any defenders that I recommend? I think we've obviously we've spoken about Chilwell, but you have him. Any other defenders really? I mean, let's have a look at Scout. Let's just take a look for you, because to be honest with you, again, where work's been a little bit busy, I'm kind of I've just been off the menu in terms of getting the data together, to be honest. So let's have a look. I'm just going to check onto Scout's data pages for defenders and just see what I feel is a good option for you. I mean, if you're looking at trying to get a double game weeker in, I guess the thing is with United is that we're missing Casemiro, so I'm not sure that I would go, Luke Shaw. But of course, this is for this week, right? Maybe you don't need to do the minus. Oh no, of course, because Akanji's blanking, so you're looking at doing it. It's a tricky one, my friend. It is a tricky one because I feel like you've got a pretty good defensive. Oh, you already have Luke Shaw anyway. Got a pretty good defensive line. I'll think about that one. I'll get back to you because, yeah, I don't know. I think it's not very obvious for you, SJ, if I'm honest. Is there any other moves you can make? Seb, what do I think about... what do I think? Is it better? -4 Henry to Chilwell, March to Maddison and Haaland to Kane, or Henry, Estepinian to Chilwell and Haaland to Watkins? You just want to have Chilwell in double game week 29. I think the second option there, mate. But I think you're right in the Brentford situation. If you want to sell Henry, I don't hate that this week. So maybe go Henry to Chilwell, Haaland to Watkins. That sounds good to me. How are we doing, FPL Boo Boo? Sorry, I know my response to messages is a little bit slow at the moment. So I've seen that you've come to the stream earlier. Darwin and Salah out for Havertz and Son. -4. Interesting. I mean, I don't like Liverpool's double, I must admit. Spurs, of course, don't double next week. Chelsea do, which is not a bad double game week, to be fair. I mean, I don't hate the move. I don't hate it. Darwin and Salah out. I mean, this week for a -4, I think it makes sense, right? Blanking players. Two pretty good fixtures, I would say. Two pretty good fixtures for both those players. Son against Southampton. I think he could do some damage. Chelsea at home to Everton. Okay, I like it. George Kent's picking Eric Dyer there. There we go. Interesting. How would we feel about a Villa defender as well? That's probably the two maybe options then. Because Spurs don't double in 29, George. That's the only thing I think SJ's thinking about. Would you go a Villa defender? Sportcat, when asked about team news, Potter press conference, nothing was spoken about for Fafana, so he must be fit enough. Interesting. The reason why Felix was substituted was because tactical reasons. Potter wanted an extra midfielder. Okay, fair enough. Because that was my only kind of concern about maybe not putting him in the kind of watch list, I suppose, for this week, because I just felt like, is there a reason to those minutes? Was it an injury? Was it a knock? Was it something? But okay, tactical makes sense. But anyway, good luck, Amar, with the Fafana pick. I'm hoping that works out for you. Just something to bear in mind, of course, longer term. When Thiago Silva returns, we might see a bit more rotation. I only say that because Badiashile not in the Champions League squad, right? So this is where Fafana can play and Badiashile can't. So maybe Badiashile gets the Premier League minutes. So something to think about in the future. Luke Taylor says, who do I think to start out of Pope and Kepa? I'm going to go with Pope, I think, to be honest. Although I don't know because I'm playing Kepa and double Newcastle defence. So I guess I trust both. A bit of a tricky one. Maybe I back the home fixture just about. Maybe Kepa just about, Luke. I think it's close. George Gabriel instead of Zinni. Cash and Dyer on your bench this week. Interesting. I mean, look, Gabriel I think is absolutely nailed regardless, right? Maybe there's a bit of untrustworthiness now that Saliba's out because obviously that partnership has worked very, very well so far, but who fills in? Maybe we see Palace score. Unlikely, but maybe I wouldn't go Arsenal to Arsenal. Something to think. Son to Fernandes in game week 29. Okay, that makes more sense. I do like that move. The only thing about Bruno that I'm concerned about with him is because we're missing Casemiro. I've seen him play deeper, and I'm not sure how much creativity he can offer from deep. That being said, he's got a wicked outside of the boot pass, right? So over the top of the defensive line, sometimes he can make stuff happen even from a deeper role. So I think that logically makes sense. You've got a bit of flexibility, I suppose, because you're downgrading. So it's not as if you're going to be tied up with money or any issues there. So I like it, Boo Boo. I think those moves are good, mate. Seb, exactly what I was thinking about because Brighton blank now, but double in 29. It's a lot better than Brentford, and Watkins has 3 fixtures when Haaland has only 1. Yeah, absolutely. Which is essentially why I chose to sell Haaland, right? I just looked at the fixtures and thought, okay, he blanks this week. Watkins has got Bournemouth. We've got 2 fixtures instead of 1 for Watkins next week. Okay, it's Liverpool. They're on maybe a slight resurgence. Of course, they've had a bit of a mixed review in terms of recent fixtures, or recent results, should I say. But maybe Haaland blanks against Liverpool and we get away with it. That would be the ideal scenario, right? Buy him back in game week 30 and move on from there. So I really do like those moves, Seb. Honestly, I think you'll do well, mate. Sportcat, you're incredibly tempted to bring in Felix or Havertz. Thing is, I think Havertz could be a potential differential. Well, he's not even a potential differential. He would be a good differential this week. My only issue with him, it's not even an issue, really. I just still you're wearing your Chelsea hat again, right? So I know how tempting it is to bring your own team players into FPL, but I'm just not convinced they score enough. Whereas I feel like Watkins is doing really well, even though Villa score maybe small amount of goals. Watkins seems to be involved in everything. Does Havertz always get involved for Chelsea? Not always. That's essentially my reasoning. Oh, George, you're on free hit. Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. If he was making the move just as a transfer, it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, actually, definitely, I think Gabriel makes sense instead of Zinni if you want to play an Arsenal defender. You don't mind Haaland hat-trick as a City fan, obviously. Absolutely. You got to gun down those gunners, right? Cat now it's between Phoenix or Havertz. Havertz is seeming to play in the more attacking position. Well, listen, mate, look, you watch Chelsea more than me, and if you're going to the game as well, we all like a little bit of fun with FPL. If you're watching the game live as well, who knows, mate? He could do something. My personal thing is I looked at the statistics, looked at a bit of the data, and I just think Watkins is a little bit ahead of Havertz. That's my choice. SJ, you're going for an Aston Villa defender. Is Cash the best one? I think so, yes. I think that Moreno, he could offer, again, that attacking threat that we know that Digne can also provide from time to time, but I just don't know if Moreno's nailed. I just don't know. Whereas I feel like Cash he's got just a little bit more to give. So I think I would go for him, yes. More attacking. I wouldn't go Mings, I don't think, because it's a bit more boring. Maybe a ceiling of 6 points, right? Stu, you might only bring in Haaland back in game week 33. I mean, listen, if you get away with that, then that's probably one of the plays of the season, mate, because genuinely, I think there's been certain weeks where, in fact, you've done quite well, actually, in the past, because you haven't had him for a couple of weeks, right? If I'm not mistaken, Stu, you removed him a couple of weeks ago, so I feel like you've done well to... What have you missed out on? You've missed out on, what, an assist and 1 goal? And hardly any bonus points, if I'm not right, if I'm not mistaken. So you've already timed it very, very well, sir. So bringing him back in 33 is brave, but it could work out. So good luck, mate. Buendia is the only one you're nervous about. He's either going to haul big or disappear. Potentially. I can see your reasoning there. He gets rotated somewhat, doesn't he? The problem is, though, is who else would you go for in that kind of free hit area, I suppose. I've forgotten your whole squad, mate. So I can't remember if you've gone for Madders or... you got Saka in there and other individuals, although Buendia is a cheaper midfielder, I suppose. So, not many options. Not many options. Maybe someone like, how about Gibbs White? Do you think that they do something against Newcastle? Because Forest at home seem to be okay. Bit more nailed, I suppose. Maybe he's a bit of a risk, though. I'm not sure. Transfers done. Henry to Chilwell and Haaland to Watkins. Well, good for you, sir. Good for you. I wish you luck. Armin, you've been watching the stream while having KFC. Greasy fingers on the keyboard, though, or your phone, whichever you're messaging me on, though, bud. Keyboard. There you go. You said it in the message, yeah. Been there, done that, mate. I actually had a Costco pizza before I started streaming, mate. And I must admit, I don't shop at Costco all the time, but I've got a membership, right? So when I go, I buy a pizza. And they're like £7.50. They're so good, but they are a little bit greasy. So I can't decide. Should I go with everyone else and bring in Chilwell with Everton, Villa, Liverpool and Wolves? Or different and bring in a Forest defender with Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds and Villa? I'm just not sure I trust Forest defensively to keep a clean sheet across more than one of those games. If I'm honest, I can see them keeping a clean sheet against Wolves. Newcastle, Leeds and Villa. I mean, they might even get away with a 0-0 here against Newcastle. Maybe even a 1-0. They snatch it. Newcastle don't score a lot of goals at the moment. Almiron's picked up an injury, of course. Isak looks all right. Looks quite threatening, but not sure he delivers enough for me in terms of a striker option. So maybe. Maybe they get something, but I think with Chilwell, the difference or the reason why he's being looked at now and with such promise is because not only are Chelsea looking a little bit better defensively with a very good home defensive record and statistics behind them, you've also got Chilwell's attacking output. And in the wing-back system, as Sportcat said, because there's a back three now in Potter's system, Chilwell and James have just started to go that way. They've just started to go up a little bit in estimation. So I think Chilwell wins for me over a Forest defender, sir. FPL Seb, last question is who to captain, Kane or Saka? Well, at the moment, sir, I am backing Harry Kane. He has got the away fixture, but I think Southampton, in terms of their squad and what I've seen, because of course I essentially watched the highlights of the midweek game, felt like they did okay, considering they played a 10-man United, really started pushing for 3 points there and couldn't get it. Played against Brentford midweek, couldn't get a result there after what I thought was quite a dominant performance. I think this is a tricky fixture for Southampton, if I'm honest, because it's just they're not used to this level of fixture congestion as a team. Maybe I'm being a bit disrespectful. Of course, they are professional players, but I just feel like Harry Kane's he could have a real easy job on his hands here against I won't not say tired Southampton, but maybe a little bit weary. That's kind of, again, my final reasoning. You haven't got Madders, George. You've got Saka, Odegaard, Son, and Gibbs-White as your other mids. Okay, so you have got Gibbs-White, yeah. I thought you did. I'm sure. Didn't you share a possible draft with me? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't you, but I'm almost certain Gibbs-White has been in a couple of different drafts I've seen for this week. So in game week 29, you'll have Bailey to March, so 13 double players. Your team would be Kepa, Trippier, Henry, Botman, Badiashile, Maddison, Saka, Bailey, Havertz, Kane, Tony, Raya, Estepinian, Rashford and Matoma. I mean, other than Badiashile there, to be honest with you, Sport Cat, I would say that is an outstanding 15 for 29 for the most part, right? The only reason I say accept Badiashile is, again, because he's had a bit of a mismatch in terms of minutes recently, so I'm not convinced with him. But other than that, it looks solid. You haven't had Haaland since 26, and it's cost you 2 points, but you've saved the transfer. I mean, that's pretty good going, sir. This is what I mean. I think you've got ahead of the curve here. So I do trust your judgment if you wait till 33. Armin, you think the Forest double is underrated, manifesting a MGW 20-pointer in the double. I mean, look, they're playing they're playing teams that are in and amongst the relegation, right? Very important games, so they could be quite open games. We know what Leeds are like as well anyway. I can see it. I've actually liked, from the eye test perspective, what MGW offers. Few set pieces. He could do some justice for you, Armin, absolutely. So you're not bringing in any Chelsea players. You don't believe the Chilwell hype. Interesting. What's put you off, do you think, Stu? Is it rotation? Do you just don't think that Chelsea have got the clean sheets in them? Or what? I'm interested to know now what you're thinking. Captaincy poll, yeah? Sure. Let's do it. Let's do it. Who shall I put? Who's the most common, do you think, here? Captaincy. Game week 28. Saka. Kane. Who else are going to be options, do you think? Saka, Kane. Tony, maybe. Not sure Newcastle, really, there's anybody there. Watkins, should we throw him in there? Let's throw in Watkins as instead of other. Let's ask the question. Let's see what results we get, guys. Let's see what we get. I need to see the chat in a different way because the poll has abused my my stream. So where was I? Right. Tempted to go for Haaland to Watkins. Bournemouth is a very good fixture. Haaland sold. Guess who you've brought in? Watkins. Honestly, I think it was the right move for you, mate. I think wearing the Chelsea cap, absolutely, mate. Havertz, João Felix, I get it. It definitely makes the game more interesting, more fun, but I really do think Watkins is going to do something this week. What would I do, Madders or Buendia? I think I would go for Madders for the assurity. He's so due a haul. I mean, I've watched the chances he's created in these past few weeks. I felt so robbed from an FPL point of view, guys. So I'm going to have to back Madders over the two between those two, mate. Armin, your transfers this week are Salah to Maddison and McAllister to Saka for a -4, and you're setting up for the bench boost in 29. Sounds good, my friend. Sounds good. I'll just let the results roll in, and we'll take a look at them shortly. Seb, while wanting to bring in Chilwell for Emerson Royale, Estepinian, Rico, Henry, you've just got 8 outfield players, so you may have to sell Estu in case of Royal plays. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see the kind of headache there, really. But again, I am trusting the Chilwell hype, so I think he could be a priority transfer this week. As I guess the second part of the question is, would I sell a playing player for him? I think the answer is no. I think I would only sell a blanking player for him, if I'm honest, unless you've got the luxury of doing it. Seb, your 29 moves are going to be Odegaard to Maddison, Zinchenko to Shaw. That exactly what I said to you earlier, my friend. I'm not 100% convinced on Luke Shaw or United defenders in general, just because of that loss of Casemiro for 4 games now is huge, mate. So I was looking at Luke Shaw myself, but I think that's changed my mind now. And 14 doublers with a bench boost sounds great, mate. So maybe just 13, sorry, yeah. So 13, that sounds really, really good. I just think maybe you have a look at a different option as to Luke Shaw. That's all I'll say at this point, but we can talk about that next week as well. Question is, who do you sell to bring Haaland back in game week 30? Tony Kane or Watkins? I think you go Ivan Toney, my friend. So I think everybody that's viewing live is pretty much voted. 14 viewers, 12 votes. The results are in. So 50% of those 12 votes came in as Harry Kane. Second is Saka, surprisingly, with 25% of the votes, Tony 17%, and Watkins 8%. So it's pretty spread. I would just say that Kane, again, I don't want to influence your choices, but like I say, Southampton for me, 3 games within 1 week. It's not something they're used to, and they're essentially bottom of the league, guys. So I've just got to back Kane. I've got to back Kane. Oh, 14 votes have come in, 43% now on Kane. Tony takes the second place spot there with 29%. So very interesting. Very interesting results. Very, very interesting. So Sportcat question is, no, we've already gone through that. I think Tony is the move to Haaland in game week 30 personally. That's what I'm weighing up. But you're playing a back 5 since game week 3. Anyone remember when we were focused on premium defenders? Indeed, my friend. It's been a very long time since I've had a premium defender in my team now. The maximum I think I've paid is Gabriel. In a long time. Was he 5.2 when I bought him? I think. Crazy. Sportcat in 29, you're going for Bailey. I think he's a decent differential. It's just the minutes for me. Yeah, trouble is Bailey minutes. Exactly, literally the moment I said it. If Tony gets a yellow card versus Leicester, yeah, that's... Let's just fingers crossed he doesn't. Would I take a -4 for Estepinian to Chilwell? Latio, that is a very good question. I think it depends. Does this give you 11 players? If the answer is yes, then yes, I do. Let's keep it really simple. I definitely take that -4. If you've already got 11 players and you're just removing a bench player in Estepinian to Chilwell, not as convinced. But that's where I'd go with that. Sportcat between Kepa and Raya. Going to back Kepa. Tony getting another yellow would break FPL. Just means we have to change the transfers right next week. I'm probably looking at a -4 myself next week, at least. You don't know how Maddison have not got any points. He's like, I know, Seb, mate, I feel absolutely robbed. It's been absolutely crazy. Been absolutely crazy. He's had so many opportunities to assist. And I say he's had opportunities to assist. He's created some wonderful chances. And then Iheanacho, not to mention others as well, not putting the ball in the back of the net. Incredible stuff. So I think he's due a haul. And again, for me personally, because I'm keeping Rico Henry, I won't back Brentford double defence. I would much prefer to have Kepa, especially because people are bringing in Chilwell. I want that Chelsea coverage in case they do get the clean sheet and Brentford gets wiped out. That's my logic there. Everton is never an easy fixture for us. We always seem to struggle versus them. But you're playing at Stamford Bridge, though. So I would anticipate you've definitely got the benefit there. Stu, good poll. Yep, thanks for the suggestion, my friend. Interesting outcome indeed, sir. I've done Estepinian to Chilwell. You're now going to flip a coin for Watkins or Havertz for Haaland. Very interesting, mate. Good luck. The coin flips on this channel have actually worked out relatively well. Grealish beat Mahrez, I think. Can't remember which game week it was. And I think McAllister was tails instead of Matoma last week. But I think Matoma edged it just about. So we're at 50-50 with the coin flips. Quite literally. Trusted me with Madders. Nice. Kepa, Trips, Chilwell, Gabriel, Saka, Odegaard, should I say, Son, Madders, Kane, Tony Watkins, Cash, Somerville, Vestergaard, Ward, bench, mate. That looks like a super team. Super duper team, that. If you only had 5 players as well, bud, I think that's a free hit of absolute magic, mate. So very good luck to you, sir. Sportcat, you don't think Haaland will score versus Liverpool? Liverpool seem to always turn up in the big games. Potentially. Yes, they've had a very mixed bag, like I say, of recent results, right? So I can't really call it. But I think even if Haaland does something against Liverpool, I'm all right. I'm all right with it. I don't mind because ultimately I'm going to have so many double game week players and a bench boost. I think I can cover the potential rank loss, right? March owners were robbed. We certainly were. That was an extra 6 or 7 points for me. And obviously, of course, the captainers was robbed of about 14 points there. So very disappointing by the FPL admin, but what can we do? I think it would have made the difference for me of basically getting to 100 points or not, right? That was the outcome, but we're still in the top 100k, which is the most important thing. Arman, is Castagna a good option for the double? Palace away now seems like almost a certain clean sheet, and Villa at home is tricky, but he does have good attacking threat. I think he's a potential option, yes. Would I go for him as a priority? No, I do think there are better options. Maybe not around his price point specifically, so it depends what your budgets are. But I'm gonna say yes, he is an okay option. George Grealish beat Mahrez and March beat McAllister. Was it March versus McAllister or Matoma versus McAllister when we coin flipped? I can't remember. These were the game week 1 fixtures, and I can remember I captained Kane on my first ever week on FPL, and guess what? Nothing in a 4-1 win. How can Saka not do anything in a 3-0 win? Yeah, exactly. But then this is just FPL. This is the way it works. We've just got to hope that Kane does get on the end of a couple of things right against Southampton. But I do think he's the one this week. Then can you change my mind on captaincy to Kane? It is. Wow. I've convinced somebody. Well, good luck, and I hope it works out for you, my friend. Can I ask you though, what was the sell? Was it the Southampton fixtures playing 3 in a week? Because genuinely, I think that's the tipping point for me as to why I've gone him over Saka. Haaland hasn't scored against Liverpool this season, right? They've played 3 times as well. I think you're right. I think you might be right on that, George. The main one was Salah in the 9-0 win, not even an assist, mate. I know. I mean, we've had so many FPL trolls this season. There's too many to list. Armin, cheers for the Chilwell advice last week, Dan. Love the goal and so close to a 15-pointer. Indeed, mate. I'm glad these recommendations do sometimes work out. So, you know, it always works well for me when, of course, they do go in the positive direction. But honestly, bud, you're welcome. Because I just looked from an eye test perspective and his stats, they just look good. This is why I'm definitely behind him. But yeah, congratulations, my friend. Surely you have to captain Kane. I think you do. Yes. That's my recommendation. Whether or not you follow it, though, sir, We've been down this road before, haven't we, Sport Cat, mate? So it's up to you. George, still have no clue on captain between Tony, Kane, and Saka. Again, while we're on that topic, George, it's Kane. It's just Kane, I think. I know it's the away fixture, which is what slightly kind of a little bit. Is it the right option? Honestly, I think Southampton are gonna. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and they turn up and they do the business against Spurs. They've got to win. They've got to do something. But ultimately, that makes me feel like there's even more reason to captain Kane, because if Southampton go for it, they have to do something to stay up. So if they play a higher line, we know what Kane can do in the number 10 role, let alone a striker role. If he picks up a pass from Son, he scores. If he's one-on-one with a keeper, he scores. If he's the number 10 and passes to Son, Son scores and Kane assists. I just genuinely feel like it's the captain to go for this week. Proudest moment is predicting Tarkovsky would be a trap and still transferring him in. And then he scored 8 points on people's benches last week, right? It's absolutely hilarious. Sorry, Dan, you meant should you go Bailey to March in game week 29? Okay. Yeah, I think you could, because Brighton have multiple double game weeks coming up. So I think once you've avoided the blank here, that is a potential move, yes. Armin, you captain Salah in that 9-0. Oh my God. Armin. Oh, that's so painful. Yes, and Haaland did get the 17-pointer. Yeah, that's mad, because if you would have gone from, I guess, yeah, you would have gained yourself an extra 14, 15 points. So I guess you can estimate it, right? You can estimate if you're currently ranked. Are you 2 points behind me, did you say? So you'd probably be about 80k, 75k, something like that, Armin. So it's not been too bad. If this is just an isolated incident, it just depends on how many times you didn't captain Haaland when he's hauled. Kareem, Iheanacho captain. Iheanacho captain. I don't think he's an option for me this week, personally. Brentford away is tricky, mate. They have obviously played multiple fixtures themselves as well, so you could argue that the same principle applies to the method that I've just used to justify Kane captain against Southampton. But I don't know, mate. I'm just not convinced with Iheanacho in terms of his finishing. Like, Maddison puts so many balls on a plate for him. This guy just doesn't score when you need him to. So I'm just not convinced, mate. I think he's a great differential, right? If you've got him in your team, then you keep him there and you just accept that he's a differential. I don't think captaining him is the play. George, you're in the last 2K of the cup. Nosebleed territory. Mate, that's absolutely incredible. Well done to you, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me. Right. Once again, the camera decides to blur just because I coughed over the side of the screen. What's this? Can't get it to focus, guys. It might do it automatically in a bit. Sorry if it's blurry for a bit. Sportcat, you will go Kane captain and Watkins vice. Fair enough, sir. But Kane captain, it's always going to come through, right? I doubt you will need the vice this week. So Chilwell is a good option as a captaincy. If not, Iheanacho. I'm not sure about Chilwell captaincy. My man, you're going fully differential here. Fully differential. Long name theory for the win comes in. George comes in there. I personally think that they're differential enough. Both Chilwell and Iheanacho. Chilwell might be a little bit higher owned this week because people are after him. I'm gonna turn my camera off just quickly, guys, because it's just not having it, right? It's just not focusing for some reason. So let's just turn it off for a bit and we'll bring it back in a sec. Chilwell, good captaincy. Again, not sure, my friend. Isak captain this game week. He and Trippier have it all. Never give up, FPL. My man, you've gone in with, again, this differential pick here. Not so sure I'm convinced with Isak in terms of what he could do, but let's see. Good luck, sir. Pinnacorn, would you sell Tony for Watkins in game week 29? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would. There we go. We're not blurry anymore. Would I sell Tony for Watkins in game week 29? I think if he gets suspended, absolutely, it's an easy move. So if Tony picks up a yellow against Leicester, I don't even think I'm hesitating with that. But it's a tightrope because if at the end of the day, if Tony gets a yellow card in one of those double game week fixtures, he only plays one fixture. So maybe the move works out. It's a good question. Who won the captaincy poll? You was away making transfers. It was Kane, as George has said also there, yes. Armin, yeah, you also captained Salah in game week 5 when Salah just about got a 10-pointer and Haaland got another hat-trick. Damn. Armin, I honestly think that you'd probably be top 50k if you'd got those captaincy choices right. But again, these are early game weeks. Nobody was really... I got it right. I did trust Haaland, absolutely. But this was a little bit fluky, mate. It was at the end of the day, who could have predicted the guy was going to score hat-tricks like he did? There's just nobody that would have predicted that. I thought he'd do well for City. I absolutely spoke about that, I think, in multiple videos during the early weeks and during pre-season. I thought he was a no-brainer in the team for me from the start. But I can see why people went with the trusted and true FPL god that was Mo Salah from before, right? That you didn't want to risk going for Haaland. So I think there's no hard feelings there for you, mate. I genuinely think you can still get to top 50k. 4 minutes to deadline, by the way, guys. Sportcat, you've been using Plan FPL a lot recently. Very good. You see Forest scoring versus Newcastle. They're good at home. Yeah, potentially. But look, at the end of the day, I've got the Newcastle boys in for the future doubles. And I've got 11 players on the pitch, right? So you're probably right that they score, though. We'll see. Reminder of your team as well. Kepa, Trippier, Botman, Badiashile, Henry, Saka, Maddison, Bailey, Kane, Tony Watkins. I think it's a pretty solid team. Of course, you've got the double Newcastle defence like me. Badiashile, does he get the minutes? Does Koulibaly come in? I'm not sure. Maybe you know more than me, but I think Fofana definitely plays. Or do you think all three play? Of course, with a back three, is that what happens? And then Bailey really is your minutes risk. But again, at his price point, you're not going to get rid of him. He's just fodder. Just play him and hope that he gets some kind of minutes in return. George, you're sweating having Kane as captain. His name isn't long enough. Yeah, that's it. We're only going to get 4 points. It's a 2-pointer doubled, mate. It's written in the stars. Kane. Top 100k is your end goal and you're already in it. So, of course, you're going to be hungry for more, mate. I mean, I was looking... There was a point, I think, I got to 69k, right? So far this season, 69k has been my highest rank. At that point, I genuinely thought, okay, this could go my way now. Like if I get the wild card right, which unfortunately I didn't, but if I did, potentially I could have pushed for top 10k, which would have been incredible stuff for my first season creating content. But I'm still happy with top 100k, to be honest. Son captain, boo boo. I mean, listen, again, differential. I think Son on his own, just owning him, so George has got him in his free hit, for example. I think he's a differential enough to just own. I don't necessarily feel like you have to captain him, but he could do very well. Your only red arrow in all my is in my league. That says something about my advice, but this week I didn't even do the video, right? So, Armin, you and my FPL rival, who is on top of the league, are both on 1750 points for the season. What a week it would be if you overtake both of us. Absolutely. Well, fingers crossed for you, mate. Fingers crossed. Because I think it's still in the top 10 of my own mini league, but I'd prefer to be dropped out of it, to be honest, so I can just give all you guys all the credit for not listening to me, I suppose. But yeah, 1750 at this stage, I'm very happy with that. I think with 10 game weeks to go, inclusive of 28, I think this is probably going to be one of my highest point scoring seasons. In terms of rank, though, I'm not sure if I'm gonna beat my best, but we'll see. Are we locked in? With 1 minute to go. Who's my favourite other FPL YouTuber? I'm gonna have to say Focal. I really like Oscar. He's very supportive of new channels. He's very supportive of just new YouTubers in general. And I like that in somebody. because he recognizes that this is a platform that takes a long time to get exposure on, and he gave me some very early support, gave me some tips, all sorts of things. But in general, I also really like his content. I think it's short, it's sweet, it's snappy. He fits the market. He's like a kind of, he's a preferred alternative for me to FPL tips. I think his content is just that little bit richer. So absolutely, Oscar gets the nod for me, or FPL Focal. I do watch a bit of Raptor. I watch a bit of Andy as well. So let's talk FPL. I like Mark and as well on Scout, or Black Box as well. Sorry, both of them are good. But to be honest with you, I don't watch as much as I used to now because I create the content. Right? It's kind of weird. It's like I've lost touch with who's doing what in the FPL community, because I just focus on you guys now, my own community and my own team, right? So it's kind of a bit strange, but that's where we're at. George, you went from around 60 to 90k, even with 85 points. Yeah, Tony, that's the thing that saved my rank. It's like the complete opposite stories, really, for you and me, George. Like that is the tail of the tape, I think, this week, because I think at one point I was about 140 something k on live FPL. This was before Wednesday's fixtures, I think. I was about 130, 135k. And then, of course, Tony, that late last minute assist. Beautiful stuff, mate. 6 points in the bag. Sportcat, what finish is good overall for the first season? I think it depends on how engaged you are. So let's look at it from my perspective. I was a casual manager that finished 1.8 million. My first season, and that was me just blindly doing my own thing. I didn't watch any YouTube content. I didn't even know this community existed on YouTube at the time. So I think if you're engaged with the content, I would say sort of, top 500k is probably quite respectable for your first season, given this season especially has been a little bit hard to navigate. It's been a little bit difficult. It's thrown up some curveballs, like the Queen dying in England. Of course, that meant a blank game week when people, were planning all sorts of things. They had to use their free hit chip early. So I think if you can get into the top 500k, I think you can consider that a successful season. Armin, also for the team selection videos where you show the channel mini league, it would be cool to show who scored the highest points for the week. Would just be a nice subtle addition. Very good tip. Thank you very much. I'll take that on board, my friend. Because that's, again, this is what it's about. I wanted to kind of give back a little bit or talk a little bit more about the community. I didn't want it to just be about my team. So absolutely, mate. I'll take that on board, Armin. Thanks for the suggestion, my friend. George, last minute assist did me like 10k in rank. Absolutely. So it probably gained me about the equivalent, my friend. So it put me to 90k. But here we are. Lilicorn, this is your first season and you're first in your mini league. 120k overall rank. They think I'm paying experts for transfer tips. Well, mate, if you're 120k in your first season, that is a phenomenal effort, mate. Phenomenal. I mean, again, because you're watching content, that does help for sure. But you still have to be a patient manager and still trust instincts and sometimes go against what content creators are suggesting, even me, right? You have to play your own game. So 120k is really strong, mate. Sportcat, see you later, mate. Thank you for joining the stream, my friend, and good luck for the week. You don't even play football. Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of chess players in FPL, right? There's a lot of chess players in FPL. So they don't even potentially watch football. They're just very good at strategy games. And this is a long-term strategy game, in effect. So, right, guys, let's, because we're locked, let's get, I'm going to get a tweet out for the team. With Captain Kane. Obviously, good luck to everybody in the stream. I haven't done any sort of plug for the stream yet, but I would very much appreciate if you're new to the channel, please hitting that subscribe button. I think the view account that I've got here probably already subscribed, if I'm honest. But if you're not, then absolutely feel free to hit that button for me. But the easiest thing to do, guys, honestly, is just like the stream. Just like the stream, and that is all I can ask for, to be honest. That would be fantastic. Twitter. Let's sort this out. Armin, you fell asleep while watching the Brentford game. You woke up in the morning with an extra 50 points. Incredible stuff, right? Was it on TV for you? Because it wasn't televised in the UK. wasn't televised in the UK, my friend. Very frustrating. It's literally it's our Premier League, and yeah, not all of the games are televised. Right, game week 28 lot. Haaland has gone to Watkins. Overall rank is 90k. We've gone with Kane captain. How much money in the bank have we got? Something I never actually checked. 5.7. Oh my god. 5.7 million in the bank, guys. Damn. Tweet. Right, okay. Bang. Into profile. Boom. Okay, tweeted out. Job done. Thinicorn, have a good weekend, Mr. Good Sir. Absolutely to you too, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you very soon, no doubt. George, here's the random prediction for this weekend. A goalkeeper gets a goal involvement. Which one? That is a random prediction, I must admit. But who? Tell me more. I'm keen to understand your prediction, sir. I'm going to go Bazunu. Last minute. Corner comes up, scores against Spurs. 1-0 Southampton. Can you imagine that? Killer. Armin, you've seen the cost for watching football in the UK for 1 month. £70 is an absolute joke. Oh, mate. Just the heartbreak. The heartbreak is real. It's even worse when you've got teams that you support that are in Europe, my friend. Because BT have all the rights for the European games. So yeah. Plus, you got Amazon Prime as well. Which, to be honest, I don't mind paying the $8.99 for anyway. Because you get Twitch Prime because Amazon own Twitch. So, you know, certain games I play, you get loot, you get stuff like that, right? So it's great. You get your Amazon Prime in terms of your next day deliveries. I don't mind that so much, right? If I'm hoping that eventually Amazon get a little bit more of the football, to be honest. But let's see. One can hope. Kepa is going to go up for a last minute corner. Okay. I see what you did there. I've gone with Bazunu, but wearing a cap because of the sun. He's going to catch the ball in his cap and frisbee throw it in the top corner. I mean, technically speaking, would that be disallowed? Because he's not actually handballed it if he's caught it in his cap. Cannot confirm. Oh, bud. If we don't laugh, we cry in this community, right? So, good times. Oh, gents, what a week it's been. And it's been a good stream as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Listen, it's up to you guys, really, what you want to do. Because for me, so we've got 9-10 people viewing. Obviously, the deadline's passed now, right? So I don't expect too many people to come into the stream now and watch. But do you guys want me to do the team selection video that I've prepared live? But of course, it's the team selection that you've just witnessed live. Or should we just sack it off and I created the graphics for nothing and we can just accept it and roll on next week? Let me know. Raya was so close last week for the header last week at the corner. He was indeed, yeah. I think he had a pretty good XG on the back of that, a chance. But and he's going to celebrate by impaling a fan with the corner flag. Damn, George, mate. Your imagination just runs wild, sir. It really does. Yeah, but his hand isn't touching the ball, it's touching the cap. Yeah, exactly. So it can't be given as a handball, right? Jedi Stu, you do feel sorry. We get every single Premier League game, FA Cup, League Cup, and all Europe games, mate. It just... Oh, my God. Ah. The issue is because of the paywalls, it just hurts so many. Like the reason why they won't move to a subscription based model for the team you support, because this is something that I've thought of before. Like why do they not just do a $9.99 or $19.99 a month membership for the team you support? The reason why is because a lot of the EFL and the Premier League, they think it hurts grassroots football in some way, or they think it hurts football in general because you're not going to go to the game if you can watch all of the games on TV for 20 quid a month. Mate, that's just not true. Do you know what I mean? It's so sad. Like, there's people are still going to buy their season tickets and go to the matches, but who knows? FPL said absolutely yes. Okay, we can do it. We can do it. We can go through my old content. He might be booked for the celebration. I wouldn't mind. Graphics cannot go to waste. Okay, cool. Seb, you're hoping not to get a red arrow this week because next week you're going to get 150 points and a huge, massive green arrow. Best of luck, sir. Right, let's get into it then, because I've got the recording. Well, not necessarily recording, sorry. I've got the graphics here. So yeah, that was the team, really. I mean, in terms of breakdown, we've already kind of touched on it on the stream, guys. But I think overall, 95 points and getting the green arrow to 90k was absolutely top notch. March missing out on those 5 points really, really annoyed me. But what can I say? It would be minimum 5 points, right? Like, not going back and rectifying it halfway through the game week, in my opinion, is a little bit salty. It definitely left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, I'm not going to lie. Of course, I had Gabriel on the bench with 14 points as well, guys. Like, what a rookie mistake that was. It did turn out to be okay to some degree, though, because Henry and Estepinian did get me 8 and 9 points in the double game week. Nothing, nowhere near, I suppose, the 14, in all honesty, but I was never going to play a single game week or ahead of them. Newcastle, if Trippier doesn't concede there, or I say if Newcastle doesn't concede, Trippier might match Gabriel's output, and I feel a little bit less salty about it, but 14 points on the bench is always going to hurt. Odegaard there coming in. I made a change last minute on the stream, if you remember rightly. I brought in Maddison. He was on my bench originally. I had Odegaard in the starting 11 for so long, and then I decided to move him out. So I could have got the 100 club just by a couple of small things going my way. So Odegaard coming in, the March goal going in. It's absolutely crazy, really. But still, I'm already part of the 100 club. I've had a few different 100 plus weeks, so that's where we're at. I can't remember what the next slides are now for these because I'm not well practiced because we're doing it live. So, okay, transfer plans. So we've already done this. We've actually confirmed Haaland to Watkins, but there was only 2 people that were on my mind, to be honest. I know we spoke about Chelsea assets. We spoke about Havertz. We spoke about João Felix as an option. But the only 2 people really were Watkins and, surprisingly, Johnson. I felt like with Forest, it wasn't the Newcastle fixture that I would have brought him in for. I was thinking about the Wolves and the Leeds ones in game week 29. The problem I had was when I looked at his data and I just looked at Watkins versus him in isolation, it was just too obvious to go for, I say too obvious. It was, in my opinion, the better option based on data. Of course, retrospectively, we can have a look and say Johnson might outscore Watkins over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But the reality is, I think Watkins does more. So it was something I considered. It was something I was going to be talking about on the video, but obviously I didn't get to record it. So maybe it was an option. Maybe it was an option. Didn't turn out to be that way. Obviously for the team selection, I think I'll just let this run because obviously normally I pause at each stage and talk about each step from midfield, from defence all the way through to the forwards, but I'm going to just let this play out because we've seen the squad and how we've. I'm not sure why. I don't know if I'm still live. Let me have a look because OBS Studio is saying I've disconnected. I've still got 9 viewers, so I'm not sure. Okay, it's reconnected. I've never seen that before, but my streaming software said I've disconnected. Anyway, this is the mini league as it looked before this week. I'm 7th place. I need to be out of this top 10, guys. You need to be smashing me out. Armin, you are correct in only being 2 points behind me now, sir. Still live, father. I've got you. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so this is the mini league. We've got FPL Boo Boo at the top. matched with K Sarah. Jan Aigner is very, very close behind now. He's closed the gap there with that 35-point difference between him and FPL Boo Boo. He's only 2 points behind the leader now. So it's very close between those three. I've got a feeling Jan Aigner's going to do it. My guess at this point is I think Jan's going to get there. He seems like he's very, very good at future planning from the decisions he's made on and comments he makes on my videos. I think he could potentially do it. Although, Armin, mate, I have faith in you as well to maybe sneak up here. George is always good. George McGavin, that is. He seems to be doing well recently with 102 points there. But it's impressive, guys, because, again, I just want to sort of get you better at the game, I suppose. And by seeing all these people doing so well, it's great stuff. So well done to you. The final point, again, is... It is a bit selfish. I do include it. I don't know if people actually like this or not. Let me know in the chat, I guess. But I'm 21st now in the content creator league that doesn't actually exist. So this is on a website called FPLGameweek.com, and you can have a look at how you fare against, of course, all of the content creators in the community. I think I've been as high as about 7th. I've fallen a little bit off, about 30 points. Less than I was a couple of weeks ago. But we've seen that there's been a few bench boosts this week. We've seen Ben Krellin now take the top spot at 1840, but he's only 1 point now ahead of Harry Daniels. And I think FPL Harry definitely going to be pipping that top spot soon. But it's interesting. It's an interesting tool. If you do want to know how you fare against these other guys in the community, then absolutely, FPLGameweek.com is the website, so I recommend checking that out. But that's basically the video, guys. There's no more graphics to share, so again, at least they didn't go to waste. I've still got 9 and 10 of you viewing, so hopefully it give you some good viewing. But that was what I'd prepared for you. Like I say, unfortunately, I couldn't get the time to record this week because I was away with work, but hopefully next week I get a lot more time to put some videos in for you. So, Armin, you said you love the look of Johnson, but can't be tripling up on Forest. It's too much trust in a relegation team. Absolutely agree, my friend. Makes sense. George, Ken, you should probably join the mini league. Yes, you probably should, sir. You probably should. Armin, you're a sleeping giant, and you will be top 3 by game week 31. I honestly feel like you're going to sneak your way up there, mate. I have faith. And Boo Boo, yeah, game week 27 was not good. You win some, you lose some. He's sneaking up there with a few steps, but you're holding the top spot for now. Seb, good vid. Yeah, well, it was not pre-recorded like I usually would do. I'd be talking in a lot more detail, but it's a bit strange doing it live to an audience, I must admit. You don't know why you really like the live version for some reason. I could probably do a premiere. I mean, it's a lot shorter, right? I'm not running away with my words as much. Sometimes it's hard for me to trim down. Like I definitely talk way too much. But I just like to get my points across comprehensively, I suppose. I don't know if that's something that you guys like me for in terms of viewership, but hey ho. Stu, we need to see where we are once everybody has bench boost. I agree. I think it will definitely help us gauge our rank much better, because we'll see that there's only going to be obviously a few managers, a fair few will still have their free hit, I think. There's a couple of wildcard 2s, or second wildcard, should I say, that we used this week, but I think that's also a chip in the back pocket of some managers. But I think you're right, Stu. I think we could probably gauge where we're going to finish a lot closer after game week 29. To George Kemp, we should have heckled you, mate. I wouldn't put it past any of you guys. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, like I said, I've never really done a kind of live. I'm sure it's called. I can't remember what it's called now on YouTube. Actually, is it Premiere? I think it's a Premiere. It's where I release a video and we can basically watch it together. But I feel like it'd be kind of weird watching myself with other people. I'm not sure. I've never seen how it worked, so maybe it's something I'll do in the future. Great performance. I suppose you could call it that to some degree. Captain FPL link. But yes, guys, it has been a pleasure as always. I know it's a small community. We don't get massive amount of viewership, but you guys turn up, should I say, week in, week out, and it's it's a pleasure streaming for you. It's a pleasure talking to all of you about this this game that we all love to hate, that stresses us out every weekend, but we still come out smiling, right? So thank you very much for tuning in. But I am going to call it a day there, guys. I would have stuck around maybe a little bit longer to talk about any team news for like 10 minutes, but yeah, like I said, I've had a long week, and I'm going to spend time with the family now this evening. So thank you very much for tuning in. Stu, you normally FF through my content providers waffling about last game week. This 1 minute summary was perfect. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I definitely need to shorten that part of the videos in the future, mate. I'm definitely going to work on that. But well noted. But yeah, see you next week. Thank you very much for the viewership again, guys, and I'll see you next week, no doubt. So good luck to you all. See you later, George. See you later, Armin. Take care, Stu. See you later, Seb, as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in. See you next time.